So good afternoon. My name is Ivan Garibay. I'm thrilled to be virtually here with all of you. Thank you to the Dean and Subit for inviting me. And thank you to all my fellow presenters for doing such a great job and make it really the bar high for me. I'll do my best. So I'm an assistant professor at the Industrial Engineering and Management Systems Department. Before joining UCF, I was Director of Technology and Innovation at UCF. Before joining IMS, working for the VP of Research Office in everything technology. If you have ever used the PARI system, that's something that we created in my time over there. During my tenure as on the VP's office, I got very interested in entrepreneurship, and in particularly on a new National Science Foundation program funded by ex-Silicon Valley venture capitalist Steve Blanks to train NSF-funded scientists to create successful technology startups. So long story short, we sent a proposal, and UCF has been innovation course sites funded by NSF since 2014. We have trained over 100 technology startups and received around 700K from the NSF. Then after I joined the College of Engineering and Computer Science around 2016. So in collaboration with Gary Levens from Computer Science and Shumpu San from Statistics, we start this Master of Science in Data Analytics program. Since that program has grown and has brought to UCF about $5 million, graduated about 90 students. Another thing that I did after I moved to CECS was to start this Complex Adaptive Systems Research Group. So far, that group has brought in extramural funding from federal and others, about 9.5 million. We have a good size group, and we routinely publish in the best journals and conferences in our field. In terms of teaching, I have created a few courses, including Introduction to Agent-Based Modeling, Advanced Agent-Based Modeling, and Introduction to Data Science. So a little bit of what is our motivation in our research group. So what we're interested in is in socio-technical systems. And for us, socio-technical systems are systems that include humans in their interaction with technology. For instance, social media systems or hybrid systems that include humans and artificial intelligence as part of the same team. We approach these problems from the complexity science point of view. But in contrast to traditional complexity science that uses mathematical grounded approaches like nonlinear dynamics, mean field theory, chaos theory, what we do is we leverage the abundance of data and of computational power. So we use simulations mainly. You can see at the center of this diagram, computational social science. Computational social science is a new emerging field of study, and it's our research focus in our research lab. And is, as you see, located at the intersection of social systems or social science, data science, and artificial intelligence. In terms of national priorities, I think it's redundant to state all the amount of resources that are available for AI and how industry and academia, both governments, think that AI is something ubiquitous in the next years, as well as data science. There's quite a bit of money in data science, including for AI, $2 billion from DARPA over the next 5 years or so. So the only thing I want to point out here is that a lot of that money that goes to AI and data science is seeking to solve problems that involve humans. So that's where our strength comes in. We have the strength of social systems, social science, together with data science and artificial intelligence. So if you look at our grants, they are mapped in that little Venn diagram. So they lie in the intersection of, for instance, social systems and data science. We have a big social simulation of online social behavior grant from DARPA that uses big data in terms of Twitter data, Facebook data, YouTube data, all the social media platforms, and trying to predict and understand things like disinformation, misinformation, narratives, information operations that are sometimes unleashed by adversaries against us on something that we call information warfare. Another DARPA grant is intersection of social systems and artificial intelligence, is the Artificial Social Intelligence grant. So in that one, and that's kind of the title of my talk, what we are saying here is that by having accurate, good simulations of human behavior, we can turn those simulations of human behavior into artificial social intelligence automated systems. So in the terms of social media, we can say that by having good simulations of what people will do online in a social media platform, we can turn those simulations of those synthetic agents into social media bots that are more realistic, more human-like, and better at their job than existing state-of-the-art bots that exist in social media. So you see some of the other grants we have over there. So let me move to this project. It's called Deep Agent, a framework for information spread and evolution in social networks. First of all, thank you to my collaborators, in particular Gita Chutankar, that is right here in the college, and also Stephen Fiore, that is on IST. This is a DARPA funded, I'm the PI, 6.2 million. It's a 4-year project. We're finishing year 3. We are starting year 4 in the fall. So why DARPA start funding this type of research? Well, the main thing that in 2016, DARPA was already obsessed with misinformation in social media. And the problem is that the way they see it, disinformation operations been happening for a long time. So since the beginning of the internet and social media platforms and cell phones, what we have is that countries with authoritarian regimes around the world, like Russia and China, have been doing a lot of experimentation on their own population without ARB, without privacy laws, and developing technologies that allow them to population control their own people. And this is basically, you know, an outgrowth of you are an authoritarian regime, you control the TV, the radio. Well, it's harder to control internet, but they have found ways to do that. Like, for instance, in China, they have thousands, hundreds of thousands of people constantly flooding internet with content that is favorable to the government and other strategies. So DARPA is very interested on this. We cannot do live research with humans in US. So the best thing to do is a big simulator that simulates all the information environment globally and allow us to experiment in silico instead of with people. So as you see there, you know, our approach involves simulation, involves optimization, involves discovery of human rules that matches behavior in the global scale. So as part of this project, we have competed every 6 months in different challenges. And usually we come up on top of the pack. In this particular case, we're in second place with our collaborators on NC State and NYU, second to Illinois, the Urbana campaign. So just to give you a flavor of how do we model this type of information spread, is traditional information spread models, state of the art, what they consider is exogenous and endogenous data. Exogenous events occur, like CNN, something happened in the world and people start using social media to propagate that information. So they're external to the network. There are other events internal to the network. And usually the models predict one particular action or activity in the network and how it propagates over time. So what we have expanded that to all platforms to be in a taxonomy, to have multiple actions. That's what this model is called, the multiple action cascade model. And furthermore, what we have focused is in 2 things. One is the links among people and the influence that somebody activity has into somebody else's activity. So one of the things we did initially is calculate the pairwise relationships and calculate a particular version that we created of transfer entropy to assume what, or calculate what is the causal relationship between the 2 time series. Once we have that, we have an influence network of the entire social media, which actually has every single person that is active in the social media calculated an activity level with or influence level to any other person active in the social media. And that's what gives us the kind of grounded and the close to reality of this simulation. The other feature that I want to highlight here is also humans have a processing capacity. So one of the things we discover is that we get really accurate and close to real results, but our humans have to be modulated. So the nodes of the network that propagate this information has to be modulated with cognitive theory. And the cognitive theory basically tells us that cognitive capacity is limited because we cannot process that much information. And there are some curves that we use, and there are some many other cognitive science research outcomes that we have replicated. How are we doing on time? I think we're almost, okay. I'm just going to brush to this. This is another DARPA grant that we have recently in collaboration with Gita. Again, we have another large grant with Disney that we've been working for the last 2 years. Is focused on deep learning and lifelong learning. So how do we inject new technologies like deep learning on existing large companies like Disney, and how that innovation can take hold into these companies. And that landed us in Congress as well. Just a word about the Master of Science in Data Analytics. It's still going really strong, and it has been a platform for us to find collaborations with many places in industry. The Innovation Core program is wrapping up this year. And in future areas, I think one of the areas that we're very interested is in misinformation and disinformation campaigns, including campaigns that are related to COVID-19. As you know, there is much misinformation that is aimed to create confusion, distraction, and really maximize the harm that COVID-19 can do to our country. So that's kind of what DARPA considers information warfare. In another areas, we're also very interested in that idea of inverse generative social science. We think that that's a new field of science that has been an offshoot of some of the grants we have. We have several activities, including workshops with some of the leaders of the field that are adopting these kind of ideas. So I just want to thank all my collaborators. Again, in particular, Gita, and particularly Charlie Hughes, that is our collaborator on the Disney project, and Tom O'Neill, that is our collaborator on the ICOR project, and all of the students and people working from different institutions in our projects. These are our sponsors, and that's all I have. Thank you very much. I'll take questions now.
Thanks, Ivan.